Insecure Season 5, Episode 3, Pressure Okay. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Ree. If you're new, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and comment if you enjoyed this video. Okay, let's get right into this week's episode. It was packed full of lots of good stuff, so I'm ready to jump into it. I've got my little notebook with all my notes. Okay, so the episode starts off with Lawrence and Issa, like kind of where we saw them leaving off, where she kind of ended it for good with him. And then it skips to him now living in San Francisco. He kind of seems a little bit like lost, a little bit like, what the hell am I doing here? Then you see him go into his new job. He seems to like it. He's making some suggestions. He's getting some projects. So it all seems to be going well for him on the career front. We then see him on a date. It seems like his first date back in a while, and it's awkward. It's definitely awkward. Everybody knows those first date kind of jitters, and you're just talking about how many siblings do you have? What's your freaking favorite color? It's like not super interesting sometimes, and it's hard to make that connection with people. So obviously that's what's happening with him on this date with this woman. We then see him get a text message that his baby is born. He's in San Francisco. Condola is in LA. So now he has to leave the date, head back to LA, you know, to see his newborn baby. So then we see him arrive to the hospital in LA. So he walks in and it's just not even like a very warm kind of environment. The mother tries to make it as warm as possible. She gets up and gives him a nice greeting, but they've never met before. So the sister also is just looking at him sideways because we know, you know, you're a little bit extra protective of your sister, and the mom's just trying to do what she can to make it like as good as it can be. But yeah, he's kind of just walks in, doesn't even do skin to skin. It just seems like a very strange situation, and he's just kind of still in his suit, and he's just kind of standing there a little bit awkwardly. So they do that. Condola already picks the name. He doesn't seem to love the name. But then he also doesn't know what to say because he doesn't really know his place in this child's life, and he wants to be involved, but he also just is like I don't even know what to do. So that's pretty like crazy. Also, I just think even if you're not together or you're together, I feel like the name is important. Also, it's both of your child. So I think just to like name the kid and be like, yeah, this is the name and what. I just think that's pretty selfish because it's both of your children. But again, I am not in that situation. I don't know how I would be if I was in that situation. Luckily, I'm not. So then it cuts to Lawrence back at his friend's house. I can't remember the friend's name, but he's like pretty funny and he just talks very fast and he just talks a lot of shit. But it cuts to that, and then Lawrence is saying that she seemed like she was doing him a favor by giving the baby Elijah his last name, Walker. So I'm actually interested to hear what you guys have to say about that. Like what the last name should be. Should it have been her last name or his last name? Because they're not together, and I don't know. Like, she doesn't know where it's gonna go. Like, I also think it's pretty old-fashioned to just assume that the man gets to carry on the last name. I actually have a friend who's planning to create a new last name with her partner when they get married, and just like start afresh, and like just have like equal partnership. So I think that's pretty interesting. But I would love to know your guys' thought with what the baby's last name should have been. It should have been Walker or Condola's last name. I don't know her last name. So yeah, he feels left out. It's already hard managing this, but we'll see what Condola's side of the story is, because you know, always two sides to a story. Okay, so he definitely makes sure he goes to the baby's first appointment because that's very important. Also, sometimes I think when a guy does what he's meant to do, I think he gets a lot of praise, but it's also like, yeah, you should be at that baby's first appointment. But I guess he also felt pushed out, but it's your child, so you should be there. Just like the mother should be there, the father should be there too. So I'm sorry you don't get a pat on the back for that one. But yeah, he's there, and again, he feels left out. Condola is having some issues breastfeeding maybe. There's things happening obviously within the first week, and he's not there 24/7, so he's not caught up to date on everything that's going on. So even the doctor kind of felt a little bit like, oh, there's kind of like, are you guys not on the same page here? But yeah, so that's kind of what's happening. So after the appointment, when they're getting ready to go, we see that Lawrence is suggesting that he comes down once a week to see the baby. So it seems like every Friday he's planning to fly down from San Francisco to LA. It's probably like a pretty short flight. Like I know from Toronto to New York, it's like 45 minutes. So in my head, I'm judging it's around that same amount of time. So it's a quick flight, but it's still exhausting flying from city to city. So we're going to see also how long that lasts and how well that works out for them. But you can also see Condola's kind of walls come down a little bit when he suggested that, because I believe during her pregnancy, he also left. He was working in San Francisco, so she had to go through the whole pregnancy by herself, and that's not easy. Imagine going through a whole pregnancy alone. Luckily, she has her mom, her sister, some friends, but you want the partner, the father, to be there too. So yeah, she definitely created some walls before the baby was born, and just to protect herself. So you can see those walls kind of not come down. You see her kind of like, oh, like she would like that if he comes down once a week to help with the baby. Okay, so then we see the baby's baptism. Also, Lawrence's parents really wanted to arrange this for the baby, but Condola already arranged everything. So it was how she wanted it to be, which again, I do believe is unfair, because this is a very important part in the baby's life, and for both parents to be involved, and for the grandparents as well, because I think this is, yeah, Lawrence is an only child, so this is their first grandchild, but unfortunately they weren't able to be as much as they wanted to, and his mother didn't really love how the baptism went down. So again, it's about co-parenting, and you're kind of figuring out like, how are they going to co-parent? How is this all going to work? And you kind of see both of their wheels turning with like, this is not really working out. And then also Lawrence talks about possibly bringing the baby to be with his parents for a week, and Condola definitely shuts that down. It's like, this is a newborn baby. The baby's definitely not going to be with you for a week. So yeah, it's so much different to co-parent, and you're definitely seeing that happen. And yeah. So then we also see some cracks starting to form. Lawrence misses his first week going to LA for the weekend, because he is packed with work, but he did say he was going to go. And so I think that Condola just starts to like, again, realize, I'm by myself, I'm on my own, I'm doing this by myself, because he can always choose when he wants to come and not to come. And she can't decide that. She's a full-time mother now, like full on, and he doesn't have those same responsibilities. So you can see that she's pretty disappointed, because she also had a spa day planned and she was really excited about that, but now she has to cancel it because he decided last minute that he's actually not coming to LA for the weekend. Okay, so now it's Simone's birthday. That's Tiffany's daughter. I also love the name Simone. I think it's such a great name. One of my best friends' name is Simone, and it just has a lovely ring to it. But yeah, so now we get to see how the baby Elijah looks a few months later. The baby is so cute. He is just the cutest little thing, and Simone is so cute. All the little babies there were so freaking cute. And yeah, so it's the baby's birthday. We see Kelly. Kelly gives us some laughs as always. I love it. And then we see, again, tension between Lawrence and Condola. And it's because Lawrence gives the baby solid food for the first time, and Condola hasn't introduced that. So their communication is a bit off, but Lawrence doesn't think it's a big deal because, you know, it's like the baby's okay. He's not allergic to carrots, but Condola's like, you should have told me this first. So Condola, I also think she goes a little bit too aggressive. Like, I do think that Lawrence just kind of really just disregarded her, and that's not very nice. Like, she was saying how she felt, and he was just like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. And that would make anyone just kind of just irritated. But then she goes, give me my baby, give me my baby. And it's like, calm down. And they make a scene in front of the whole party, and everyone's kind of looking. Then Tiffany's husband, now I can't remember his name either, but Tiffany, I think his name is Derek. Derek comes and like takes Lawrence to the side and just says like, hey man, like this is not the way to go. They have a little one-on-one talk, and it's like nice seeing two dads talking and trying to figure things out. He's trying to help Lawrence, but then Lawrence also says like, you don't know the situation. Like, Tiffany is your wife. Like, so you guys have issues. She's having some problems. Like, you guys are in a relationship. Like, we are co-parenting. This is completely different. So Derek doesn't even understand really what he's going through, but he knows like how he's reacting is not the best way to go about the situation. So Lawrence takes it in, but who knows how much it really sunk in. Okay, then I love this next scene. We see a side-by-side of both of their days, Lawrence's day and Condola's day with a baby, and they're very different. We see Lawrence, he's tired because he is flying to and from LA, so it's definitely a struggle, but he like kind of crashes and he's able to sleep the entire night. Then you see Condola, and she's like exhausted, throws herself on the couch as well, but she's been dealing with the baby all night. So there's toys everywhere. She's just like actually physically exhausted from having all the duties put on her, raising a newborn baby. Like, that's a lot. Okay, so then it cuts to them the next day, and Lawrence is at work. He's working on things, so it's still a hectic day for him, but it's also a lot of like, I think they're popping champagne or something, so they're celebrating something, and everything seems to be going really great in his day. Her day is different. Her day is just full of a lot, you know, raising the baby again, so it's a lot of lack of sleep. It's a lot of attention on this child, so their days are very different. Then later on, Lawrence gets to relax and have some fun with a woman. He's like hooking up, and he's having a good time. She's like sitting there basically falling asleep on the toilet. So very, very, very different. And I think that's important to show, because Lawrence believes that he's doing everything he can, but Condola's just like, I'm actually here by myself and I need help and whatever. But everybody could say like, Condola, you know, like whatever, like, you know, some people can have some words for Condola and maybe not feel so bad, because this is what she decided on, and they already broke up, and you know, she decided on this, but also she didn't get pregnant by herself, takes two. And so yeah, it's just kind of interesting to see two sides of the story. Okay, basically the last scene was Lawrence and Condola getting into such a huge fight. I actually watched the scene twice because I thought it was done very, very well. Lawrence comes down to LA for the weekend again, and he wants to take the baby overnight. So that's what they're planning to do. But when he gets to Condola's place, the baby is very restless and crying, and Condola's trying to quiet the baby. Lawrence then comes and tries to say like, I can do it, like give me the baby, I'm gonna, you know, quiet the baby. She then says, no, give the baby to me, I'm going to quiet the baby. And he's thinking, just give me a chance, like give me a chance to see what I can do, instead of just like coming in and just, you know, trying to take control. But Condola just feels like she has obviously way more experience with the baby. She's with the baby full time, but it is a bit of like the control. But I think that's also the mommy instinct, as well as having like a very young child. And so yeah, but so literally 2 seconds in, they start to clash. Condola then says she doesn't think this is a good idea. She doesn't think the baby should stay with him for the night. He then gets very irritated, very angry real quick, and says like, what the hell are you talking about? This is what we decided on. They just go back and forth and start fighting, and she says, I don't trust you. I just don't trust you to be with the baby. He is insulted, which I think anybody would be. It's like, this is my child. Like, how could you not trust me? But it's like, you're not there. You don't know what the baby needs. You don't know what the baby wants. So how could you take care of the baby as well as I can for a whole night? You know, when you're not here, you're part-time. She calls the man part-time, your part-time dad. So he immediately takes offense because he believes he's doing all he can. She then hits back and is like, how is this hard for you? Like all your, you know, restful nights and your free time, like this is not as hard for you as it is for her. He then jumps back and says, you're the one who did this. Like, you did this and you blew up my life. He then threatens to basically go to court and like to kind of get the courts to decide you know, share custody and stuff because he's like, I'm done dealing with you. Like, this is getting ridiculous. She then tells him to F off and get the hell out of her house. So that's not how, I don't think either of them planned for it to go, but obviously their situation wasn't working. And so it was about time that things really escalated. And unfortunately, it did. So then when Lawrence is on his way back home to San Francisco, the plane is having severe turbulence. That looked insanely frightening, like insanely frightening. And then you also see the baby on the plane. So Lawrence is going through a whole bunch of emotions. He thinks he's going to die. And then also when things like that happen, you start to put things into perspective and you realize what's important and what's not important. He then realized I'm not going to be, you know, getting the courts involved about this domestic issue. I'm going to speak to her. So I really like this. As soon as he got home, he decided to call her because sometimes pride could get in the way and you could just be like, no, I don't care. Like, I'm going to do this. But he called her, he apologized, and he said, how could we make this work? This obviously isn't working. So how can we make this work? So we'll see what happens with them, but I don't know, man. I do not know. But I really enjoyed this episode. It was really nice focusing on Lawrence this episode because you're wondering like what has been going on with him. Also, where was Issa and Molly during the baby's birthday party? I would think that they would be there at the Simone's first birthday party, but they weren't. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think about the third episode down below, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you think is going to happen. I would love to know what you guys have to say. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week for episode 4. Bye!